In today's episode, the Maestro. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel. And in today's episode, like we said at the start of the show, we're going to be looking at the Maestro from this Rover all-range catalogue for 1989, when we kind of like lost the Austin name, which meant we were badging Rovers as small cars now, but not the Maestro. Although the Maestro lost the Austin Maestro tag, it was now just called the Maestro. A bit of a strange time. Anyway, let's throw that on the board and have a look at this amazing car. So here it is, the Maestro in 1989. The front cover there tells us Maestro. The Maestro, a stylish range with outstanding value for money. It's smart, sporty, better equipped than ever, and it's quite an interesting range at this time, and quite a large range actually at the time. The range started with the lowly Maestro Special and went up to the 1.6 SL, and then you go sporty and get the MG models. We will be looking at the MG models as well. I always quite like the Maestro. I was always a little bit fascinated with the fact that they did the reversing light so tiny. I don't think they could have possibly made that reversing light any smaller, but I did like those rear lamps actually, and maybe they were just trying to hide that reversing light as much as possible. You tell me. Was it big enough? Did it produce enough light for reversing? I don't know. I never owned one, although I think the Maestro was actually my favourite. I preferred the overall sort of hatchback styling than the Montego, although if I wanted an estate car, I would certainly have gone for the Montego estate. But I preferred the styling of the Maestro, and I even preferred the styling of the Maestro over the sort of upmarket Rover 200s at the time. I don't know. I know that's possibly showing my poor taste, I don't know, but I quite like the style. I even like the sort of like sculpted sides, these scalloped curves in the doors. I know some people hated that and thought it made it look quite old-fashioned, but I quite like the overall look of the Maestro. Anyway, but rather nicely, I do apologise, we are getting a few reflections today, but this is rather a nice page before we actually go to the lineup actually, just to show that the base model and the top of the range model, how the base model had a different bumper. Always liked base model cars for all the weird things they do. So we get a proper sort of modern bumper on the higher spec Maestros. On the base model, we get these simple bumpers that look like the more from sort of like the late 70s, early 80s. These sort of like very basic bumpers, which really makes it look very different. I'm assuming that's the same bumper as the van version, and certainly it does cheapen it, but in some ways with the white paintwork, I don't mind it too much. But anyway, like I say, let's move to the lineup with the base model. So yes, like I say, this is how it starts. The Maestro 1.3 Special looks quite interesting in white. And actually, in some ways, it doesn't look that basic. But we'll start reading the text and we'll see that it is quite a basic car. Then we'll come back to these images. It says, look at the 1.3 Maestro Special. You'll be amazed at its affordable price tag. It's a smart character with a body colour grille, stylish tape treatment and full wheel trims. Then there's the equipment with twin door mirrors and a rear wash wipe, all part of the specification. So by the end of the 80s, even the base model wasn't too basic really. Now slip into the driver's seat and cast your eye over those stylish seats with moon check tweed facings. The front seats are fully reclining, headrests are standard, and the doors are fully trimmed. It's a really comfortable, good-looking interior. Next, lend your ears to that excellent in-car music system with stereo radio, stereo cassette player, and 2 speakers. You'll enjoy great sound when you're on the move. The instruments are comprehensive and there's even a digital clock to help you get there on time. ready for the road, you'll find that the Maestro Special is ready for the load too, because it's got Maestro's 60/40 split rear seats as absolutely standard. So now you can ring in the changes between the large load space and the flexible room for passengers. What more could you ask for? Just grip the sporty 3-spoke steering wheel and you're off. The Special is a great drive, agile and quick off the mark too, and you'll hardly complain at up to 50.8 mpg at a constant 56 miles per hour. More still if you go for the optional 5-speed gearbox. So late 80s is certainly late to be still hanging on to a 4-speed box when you consider things like the Triumph Acclaim early 80s had that 5-speed box as standard, but you can often find that with British Leyland or Austin Rover or even now Rover, this strange mix of 4 and 5-speed gearboxes still hanging on with a 4-speed in the late 80s when the 70s had the Maxi with a 5-speed box, of course. The Maestro 1.3 Special, big style for such a modest price. The little image there is a tiny little image of the base model from the rear with that special decal. The dash, it doesn't look too bad, a bit of a strange image, it's a bit of a dark image unfortunately, but I didn't mind it too much. Obviously we'll notice now we've got a Maestro badge in the middle and it's like we've got a few, I presume that's a blanking plug and this is a blanking plate. No rev counter of course. The fashion really could only be from the 80s. I'm not really sure what the ladies were wearing there, and the gentleman with white jeans, the colour that means you can't do anything all day otherwise you'll be filthy. And the base model itself didn't look too bad, I didn't think. Wheel trims, special decals, we got colour coordinated door mirrors, which is nice, but strangely not colour coordinated bumpers, but actually in white. I think it actually cuts quite nice with those black bumpers on there, not too bad at all. Even got some rather nice head restraints there as well by the looks of it. Anyway, we can move up the range, so we will. And then the next page is quite revealing really. It shows all the rest of the range, apart from the MGs of course, but all of the rest of the range of the Maestros all on this double page spread, which is a bit weird. They've not split it up. So on here we've got the 1.3L, the 1.6L, the 1.6 also, and also the higher spec models, the 1.3 SL, 1.6 SL. Almost really saying that they're trying to forget about the Maestro in some ways. Obviously that special budget model, they liked having that budget model, so that was there on that double page spread, because really we didn't really want to promote the Maestro too much as being an upmarket car, because that of course would be competing with the Rover 200, which is wearing the Rover name, so they're proud of the Rover name. So this is kind of like almost becoming a bit of an afterthought in some ways, but like I say, I always preferred the look of these to the Rover 200, so a bit of a shame. And of course we've lost the Austin name as well, and in some ways the SL doesn't really mean as much, you know. In the older Maestros we got like the Mayfairs and the Vanden Pla, or Vanden Plas if you prefer. Now it's been lost because I think they're now promoting the Rover 200s as being an upmarket vehicle in this segment, and this is more being promoted as a lowerly, more budget version. So it's almost like they're hiding the higher spec SLs. A little bit of a weird sort of marketing, but always a little bit weird while you're selling two cars in the same segment, I think. Anyway, that's just my thoughts from turning the page. Let's just have a look through the text then, and we'll come back to these nice images. It tells us some cars just can't help grabbing all the attention. The Maestro L is one of them. Sporty two-tone paint, a no-cost option, a sliding tilting glass sunroof with an interior louvered blind. All standard at a price you'll hardly credit. You'll appreciate fast. looks and plenty of equipment. Just put yourself in the driver's seat and enjoy the feel of the new velvet seat facings and matching doors. Rear seat passengers get extra comfort too with a fold down centre armrest. A 5-speed gearbox is yours, now standard on the 1.3L as well as the 1.6L, so that 4-speed just for the special, which all helps to give you 58.2 mpg at a constant 56 miles per hour from the 1.3L. Also at your fingertips is a really superb in-car entertainment system with electronic tuned stereo radio, stereo cassette player, plus 4 speakers. Your tapes never sounded so good, and like all Rover's latest electronic music systems, it has a security code theft deterrent to help protect your investment. Like the smooth drive that you get with automatic transmission, in that case you can opt for the Maestro 1.6 automatic, powerful and remarkably economical with it, and it's just as well equipped as the L models. For not a lot more cash, you can have even more style. The new Maestro 1.3 SL and 1.6 SL with tinted glass to keep you cool, central locking for quick entries out of the rain, even electric front windows. Great equipment at keen prices. If you like to shift, you'll find performance is hot stuff too. The 1.6 Maestro can reach 60 in only 10.5 seconds, and rest assured that the economy, over 50 mpg at a constant 56 miles per hour, will only broaden your smile. Main interior picture here it's telling us is the SL model, so the top model, still showing this sort of blanking area. Is that a blanking plug, or is it supposed to be like a ashtray type design? I'm not sure, you tell me, I can't remember what that is. And then we got another image of the SL interior from another angle. Again, it doesn't like we even have the rev count on the top model, which is a little bit strange in the late 80s, isn't it? And unfortunately the image is very dark, so apologies for the reflections. And then the main image is actually the L spec model. Well, it's actually the automatic, but it tells us the automatic is the same spec as the L. We can see that two-tone paintwork, which I quite like for the Maestro, although we will notice we've now gone back to not colour coordinated mirrors, and yeah, there it is. I quite like the clear lights on the indicators actually of these, and also showing the sunroof you got on the L model. And then the final picture, a very tiny image, but it does show you how, a little bit blurry, it's such a small image, but it does show you how the Maestro 1.6 SL was badged. So that then moves up to the MG badged Maestros. I actually thought it really quite suited having the MG badge. It suited that sort of sporty look, I always thought, more so than the Rover 200 Vitesse, in my opinion anyway. But it says bred for high performance and superb handling, the MG 2-litre L and the phenomenal new MG Turbo with great looks to match. So we've got two models, it's telling us, so the 2-litre injection and the really quite a fast MG Turbo. We'll look at both of those models to wrap up the Maestro range. We can even see on the front cover here we're going for a colour coordinated everything, aren't we, from bumpers to mirrors to even seat belts. I guess this image is probably a better look at that. Also had these quite interesting alloy wheels, this almost like a spoke type look, which I always thought really suited it. Anyway, let's have a look at the contents proper. So the first of the MG models is the 2-litre injection. I always quite like the look of it. Like I say, I like the Maestro look anyway, but particularly in the MG form, there was something about it. Inside we'll have a look at a bit more red because we're going for sporty, but let's start with the text. So it begins by telling us the MG 2-litre I with all body colour coachwork, gleaming 15-inch alloy wheels, front and rear spoilers. It looks powerful, fast, agile, and it is. Take the driver's seat, sports front seats with sculptured velvet facings give you snug wraparound comfort. There are all the refinements you'd expect from MG. The convenience of central locking, cool tinted glass and a high quality 4-speaker music system. Now start up the powerful 2-litre engine, 117 PS fuel injected engine. Enjoy the way the 5-speed sports gearbox moves slickly through the gate. Move slowly away and appreciate the way the engine's flexible torque output gives you a muscular response even at low road speeds. More vigorous use of the throttle pedal and the MG's power starts to bite, giving you acceleration 30 to 50 in fourth in just 6.3 seconds. Sprinting power that outclasses some far more expensive competitors, racing from 0 to 60 in only 8.5 seconds and on to a top speed of 115 miles per hour, where the law allows. Exhilarating to say the least, but it's not just in outright high performance that MG's class shows. You'll also appreciate the polished way it handles itself on the curves, the responsive feel of the steering, the assurance in short of a full-blooded sports hatchback. So you can permit yourself to enjoy all the style which is yours when you fly the MG colours, because this is one sports hatchback which more than lives up to its looks. We got a tiny little bit of an image of the front end of the MG Maestro and the MG badge. We get the interior. I like the seats and overall vibe of this, and little red line going on the door cards, and of course that steering wheel with the MG badge. We do of course now get a rev counter though. And then the car itself with, colour coordinated red. Really very much all of the red, isn't it? I think it looks okay though. If performance was your thing, you can certainly go still further though. Again, they've chose red as their main colour here. We'll start with the text, see how this improves on the base MG model, and then we'll come back to these nice images. So it starts by saying the 2-litre MG Turbo, created for sports connoisseurs, because quite simply the fastest accelerating production MG ever built. So at this point in time, this was your fastest accelerating production MG, which obviously really stands out, doesn't it? Powered by a 152 PS turbocharged engine with intercooler that can get you to 60 in a mere 6.7 seconds. So the performance wise, I don't know if you loved or hated the design. Like I say, I loved the design, a lot of people didn't, but you can't really ignore those performance figures. That's a pretty fast car. This high level of performance is matched by superb handling with uprated sport suspension and power steering, plus wide 185/55 HR tyres on those striking 15-inch alloy wheels, and a close ratio gearbox that's quicker through the gates than a Derby favourite. You better not be the shy and retiring type either, because the MG Turbo makes no secret of its potential, with exclusive body styling which makes the sporting pedigree quite unmistakable. And then we got this little bit of an image of the front end of the MG Turbo. It then goes on to tell us you'll have the high equipment levels you'd expect from one of the hottest hatches on the road, including electric front windows, a glass sunroof, central locking, sports front seats, tastefully trimmed with grey velour facings, a leather-bound steering wheel, and some very cool in-car entertainment. An electronic stereo radio stereo cassette player with Dolby noise reduction, music search and security coding. Like the car, it'll give you nothing less than brilliant performance. Yeah, a very interesting car, great interior, kind of like going back to that Rover Vitesse. Maybe if the Rover 200 Vitesse had this sort of performance, maybe it would have been taken a bit more seriously. But like I say, I've said it before, the Rover 200 Vitesse, I didn't really understand it, particularly when you had models like this in your lineup. Interior looks great, little MGs stitched onto the seats as well. A look from the rear, all that body skirts and aerodynamic parts around the rear window. Certainly makes it really stand out as your sporting model. Even the rear lights kind of like disappear a little bit with all this red. I'm not sure I would have chose red. I think it's maybe a little bit too in your face, but then again, I think the whole idea of these MG turbos was for them to stand out. Apologies for the reflections, but this is your model from the side. I really like the choice of alloy wheel they decided to use. And then we get a couple more random images of the rear of the MG Turbo, and also if I move down the screen, there's also this little bit of an image kind of like showing you what the 60-40 split rear seats on the Maestro range look like. And then there is your full range of Maestros, going from that very basic special with its 1.3 69 PS engine all the way down to the MG Turbo with the 2 litre 152 PS. So there we go, the Maestros from 1989. I guess the main problem with the Maestro was the Rover 200. There was trying not to make them overlap, but certainly an interesting range of cars at this time. Next week will be Metro. Metro range is absolutely huge in 1989, so that will be certainly a longer show. But remember, they didn't have anything else competing against it. They just had that small hatchback, so I think that's why they went for a large range of cars. So that's an interesting range actually at this time. But thank you so much for watching today. Any Maestro memories, please do jot it in the comments, and we'll end as we always do by saying please do consider subscribing. It is all completely free. Click that little bell, will remind you when episodes are coming up. Like I say, you'll never be charged anything for subscribing. Helps build the channel, so thank you for every single person who has subscribed. Everyone else, thank you so much for watching to the end of this episode, and if you've got this far, don't forget to leave a like. It's very much appreciated, so please do take care. We'll see you very soon. I'll also add a little box on here for any other episodes you've missed in this brochure, but like I say, thank you so much for watching. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon, and goodbye.